morning. Welcome to this Planning, Taxi, Licensing and Rights of Way Committee meeting. My name is County Councillor Carl Lewis, and I have the pleasure of chairing this meeting today. Apologies for our late start. We've had technical issues this morning, but we're underway now. So over to Carol now for apologies and the roll call, please. Carol, the clerk of the committee.
Thank you, Chair. So, Councillor Carl Lewis.
Present.
Councillor Gareth D. Jones. Councillor Tom Colbert.
Present.
Councillor Angela Davis. Councillor Deb Edwards.
Present.
Councillor Les George.
I think he's gone to get a cup of coffee. That's what he said.
I'm off mute. I'm up.
Thank you, Councillor Les. Councillor Hylwyn Hume.
Yeah.
Councillor Peter James.
Present.
Councillor Adrian Jones.
Present.
Councillor Gareth E. Jones.
Present.
Councillor Karina Kenyon Wade. Councillor Ian McIntosh.
Present.
Councillor Jeff Morgan.
Present.
Councillor Gareth Pugh.
Present.
Councillor Edwin Roderick has given apologies. Councillor Gwynfor Thomas.
Present.
Councillor Elwyn Vaughan. Councillor Jonathan Wilkinson.
Present.
Councillor Hugh Williams. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Carol. On to the second item of the agenda today, which is minutes of the previous meeting. There are pages 5, 6, 7, 8. Do I have someone to propose and second them as an accurate representation will transpire, please? Anyone from the floor or anyone at home? Thank you very much. Councillor Peter, thank you very much. We've got a seconder, please.
I'll second that.
Councillor Deb Edwards, thank you very much. On to item number 3, which is declarations of interest. To receive any declarations of interest from members relating to the item to be considered on the agenda.
Chair, I'd like to declare an interest in 221528 FUL and the applicant.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gareth Pugh. Anyone else? Councillor Angela.
Yeah, I'd like to declare an interest in item number 4.3, Hembron Raider.
Okay, thank you very much. Both members, you would have to leave the meeting when we come to those particular applications. B, to receive members' request that a record be made of their membership of town or community councils where discussion has taken place of matters for the consideration of this committee. No, okay. C, to receive declarations from members of the committee that they'll be acting as a local representative in respect to an individual application being considered by the committee. D, to note details of members of the county council who are not members of the committee will be acting as a local representative in respect of an individual application being considered by the committee. I believe we have. Okay, we're going on to item number 4, which is the actual applications for today. 4.1 is updates. We don't have any updates today, so that takes us on to the first application, which is 22/1906/FUL, erection of block of 18 apartments and all associated works at the former Travis Perkins site in Newtown. Taking us through this application is Kate Bowen, Senior Planning Officer. Over to you, Kate.
Good morning, members and members of the public. As the chair's just outlined, this is application 22/1906 full, the erection of a block of 8 number apartments and all associated works at land at former Travis Perkins site, Newtown. This slide shows the application site, which is located between the railway line and New Road in Newtown. The site was previously occupied by a milk builder's merchant, but that builder's merchant did close some time ago. The application site is edged red on the location plan on the screen. It forms part of a site which has previously been granted planning permission in 2022 for a block of 32 apartments and a separate terrace of 6 dwellings. This application relates to the substitution of the terrace of 6 dwellings as demarcated by the red application site area. So it's to swap the previous terrace of 6 dwellings to 8, an apartment block of 8 over that previously approved. This site plan obviously just sets out where the apartment block would be. As I've mentioned previously, it is to replace the previously approved terrace of 6 dwellings with an apartment block of 8. Access would be as the existing access is onto New Road. The shared amenity space for the apartment block is shown green to the northwest of the apartment block. The apartment block would have the same footprint as the terrace, and the plan also shows the on-site parking spaces. 40 in total have been approved for the whole site in the previous application. The overall level of parking is still adequate, as whilst 2 additional units are proposed in this application, they would be 1-bedroomed units. So you're having 8 1-bedroomed units, whereas previously it was a terrace block of 4 2-bedroomed units, and the 2 end ones were both 3-bedroomed. So whilst there's more units, the parking provision is kind of in a neutral situation. So the parking provision has been confirmed as acceptable by the Highway Authority. The previously approved elevations for the terraced houses are shown on the screen now. They were kind of split level, part 3-storey terraced dwellings in a block. They were brick walls and tiled roofs. This is the proposed elevations for the apartment block, fairly similar in design, a kind of urban contemporary design. They would be 2-storey, but they would be the same height as previously approved. This is the previously approved floor plans for the terrace of dwellings. Obviously, as I explained previously, the middle 4 had 2 bedrooms, the 2 end dwellings had 3 bedrooms. This is the proposed floor plans for the apartments. As I said, all would have 1 bedroom, so they're 1-bedroom apartments. This slide shows the landscaping details. The landscaping details have been approved for the whole site via condition following the approval of the entire site previously. So this plan just reflects really what's been approved previously, and it includes native species trees, construction of attenuation rain garden, and a mixed flowering lawn. Given that it's similar to that has been approved via condition, is considered acceptable. This slide shows the improvements to the existing access road, the existing access and new road. Improvements were secured under the previous consent, and the details were agreed via condition. So the plans submitted as part of this application reflect those that were approved previously. The Highway Authority has recommended conditions to ensure that the works and parking provision are implemented. And it is understood that some of the works have actually already been carried out, with only the road markings along New Road to be carried out. This slide shows the entrance to the site of New Road in the centre of Newtown. The block of apartments would be behind the terrace of dwellings shown there. This is just a photograph further down the road along New Road, just showing a bit more context of the site, and obviously some of the design of the dwellings in close proximity to the site. This application, this photograph was taken from the railway side of the site, looking down towards the site. Obviously, you can see that the other part of the site, the larger apartment block, works have already commenced on that, and that's been commenced lawfully. The listed building referred to in the report, which has been listed since the previous application was approved, Cosawdwy, which was listed formally in December. Grade 2 listed is shown on the left of the screen with the yellow arrow. The application site is shown with the yellow arrow behind the terrace of dwellings. This slide is just a step further back from that site, really, just to give a bit more context. Obviously, you can see the application site indicated in yellow with the yellow arrow, and St David's Church, the other nearby listed building, signed with a yellow arrow. This is the last photograph indicating the site, again taken from New Road, 4th Casaudi, just showing the Casaudi grade 2 listed property in the forefront there, the application site in between Casaudi and St David's Church. So in summary, the development is considered acceptable as a substitution to the previously approved terrace of 6 dwellings, and it's considered that relevant matters can be conditioned appropriately. Therefore, the recommendation is one of conditional consent as in the committee report.
Thank you very much, Kate. Over to members now for discussion, please. Councillor Elwyn Vaughan, please.
Good morning. Well, I've looked through this application. Of course, we've had it before us before. It's using the same access, so there's no problem with that front. It's in reality, in the greater scheme of things, it's a fairly minor change, internal more than anything else. I can't see what the problem is, to be honest with you. All the professional advisors have no problem with it, so I recommend we approve the recommendation as indicated, and I move to that effect. Diolch yn fawr.
Diolch yn fawr iawn, Councillor Elwyn, for that proposal. Councillor Jonathan Wilkinson, please.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, I'm echoing here. Is that something I've done wrong?
Speak to the system, Jonathan.
Okay, sorry, Chair.
It's okay.
Yeah, I feel very much like the previous speaker. I think we've got all the information we need. I think materially it's very little different to the previous application. The only could you just remind me what provision was made for electric vehicle charging in the original application? I don't see it.
Yes, Kate's just going to communicate with another officer just to find out what that provision was.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
Yes, so future Wales, current planning policy nationally requires electric vehicle charging points for commercial sites. Given that it's a residential site, there's no policy requirements for electric vehicle charging. Does that answer the question?
Yes.
Very aspiration transition to vision something lacking in application.
Could you, sorry.
At this stage, rather than thinking about it subsequently, when the infrastructure could be put in much earlier. I've only brought that up now because it seemed that this has come before us because of the particular debate around parking spaces, and that's why I felt I needed to bring it up now. But I'd just like that noted if possible, Chair.
Thank you. It's been noted. It's been Carol. Thank you very much.
But sorry, I'm more than happy to second the
Thank you very much, Councillor
proposal from
Okay, Councillor Howard.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Echo again. No, it's off.
Councillor Howard.
Yeah, it's off.
Needs to be muted. On your speaker.
Is that?
Yes.
I think so, yeah. Brilliant.
Thank you, Chair. This development is obviously addressing a much needed housing need in Newtown. It's town centre accommodation, again, very desirable, and more than happy to support this application.
Thank you very much, Councillor Howard. Councillor Jonathan, I think that's a legacy hand you got up on the screen. Thank you. Councillor Les George, please.
Thank you, Chair. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly.
Because some of the comments we made, I failed to hear them clearly, but I hope I'm not repeating what anybody said. I was just concerned, Chair. I believe Christ Audi is under the ownership of the developer. And just wondering what plans are afoot with Kraus Audi and how will it affect these plans in the future?
With all due respect, Councillor Les, I don't think Chris Audi's under the control or the purchase of the developer, and that's not really a concern for this application. But if you wanted to contact the planning department to ask about that after the meeting, then you're more than welcome to. But concentrate on the application today, that'd be grand.
I'm fine with that, Chair, and I will be happy to support the application.
Thank you very much, Councillor Les. Councillor Gareth Pugh, please.
Thank you, Chair. I just want you to confirm, up until now, this has all been done on delegated. It's never been to committee before, the whole of this development, is it?
Bring Kate in for this.
Yeah, no, the previous application, which was granted earlier last year, was granted under delegated powers. The reason this application has been brought to committee is at the request of the local member.
Yeah, that's the part where I'm a little bit confused because the 8 now, not the previous, is the same footprint, isn't it?
Yes, it's the same footprint, but obviously it's a new application. The councillor did have the right to call in the application underneath the planning protocol.
Yeah, well, I always thought that a county councillor had to have a good reason to call in an application. I just wondered why it's got all the way through till now under delegated. I was just wondering, what is the good reason that the local county councillors had to call this in front of us today?
The county councillor cited parking and highways concerns, which are obviously planning considerations, and underneath the planning protocol, it is considered that those are considerations which can trigger a call-in, allowance.
Okay, yeah, I was just a bit surprised to see it in front of us, but yeah, I fully support this one. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Councillor Gareth Pugh. I'll just go to highways just to confirm that the parking allocation is more than sufficient, and because that was one of the main concerns from the local member. So I'll bring in Simon Crew from highways now, please, just to confirm that.
Okay, so when the previous application was considered, there was an app as part of the application, we reduced the parking allocation at the site on the basis of the sustainability section of CSS Welsh Parking Standards 2014. Excuse me, so that then reduces the parking requirement because of the proximity of the site to local services, so like the bus station, doctor surgery, the train station, etc. So you can reduce the parking requirement. So rather than 1 parking bay per bedroom, that can get reduced by 1 parking bay per unit. So on the basis of the 8 terraced dwellings, there's, as Kate says, there's 4 2-bedrooms. So the parking requirement for them under the sustainability is 4 parking bays, so 1 parking bay per unit. And for the 3-bed units, that gets reduced to 2 parking bays per unit. Again, comes out at 4 parking bays. So if you have 8 1-bedroom units, 1 parking bay per bedroom, it's 8 parking bays. So the parking requirement for the site and the parking demand for the site remains the same.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, Simon. Okay, members, there are no other members wishing to contribute to this application. It has been proposed and duly seconded to go along with officer's recommendation, which is one of conditional consent. Those members wishing to go along with that, please notify us when we come round with the roll call momentarily. Or we can do, if you've got a voting form ready, Carol, we'll go to the voting form. Thank you. It should appear in the chat. Is that correct, Carol? So members, if you open up your chat box, it will appear now momentarily. Thank you.
Where do we find the chat, Chair?
if you go along the bottom of the screen, you've got left-hand side, you've got unmute, start video, participants, got chat. You got that?
Participants.
Chair, I think the you need to take the Chris Howdy picture off the screen and things because it affects what we can see in the bottom.
Okay.
Right.
Can you see the chat now?
No.
No.
Okay, we'll go to a verbal.
Yeah.
We'll go to a verbal roll call.
Okay.
It
thank
is,
you.
it is there, Carol.
I think so people adjust their own view.
I voted anyway.
I voted. Is it in participants?
The top corner.
Next, it's next to participants, Les, it's chat next door.
Have you got it, Les?
I
don't have chat either.
I don't have it either.
Okay.
I can't find chat. I got share screen next to my participants.
Okay.
Yeah,
members.
same here.
Okay. We'll come to a verbal now. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So, Councillor Carl Lewis,
4.
Councillor Gareth D. Jones,
4.
Councillor
Peter.
Todd Colbert,
4.
Councillor Angela Davis. I have voted electronically, but 4. Thank you. Councillor Deb Edwards.
4.
Councillor Les George.
4.
Councillor Harlan Hume. 4. Councillor Peter James. 4. Councillor Adrian Jones. 4. Councillor Gareth E. Jones.
4.
Councillor Karina Kenyon Wade. 4. Councillor Ian McIntosh.
4.
Councillor Jeff Morgan.
4.
Councillor Gareth Pugh.
4.
Councillor Gwynfor Thomas.
4.
Councillor Elwyn Vaughan.
4.
Councillor Jonathan Wilkinson.
4.
Councillor Hugh Williams.
4.
Chair, that's everybody voting for.
Thank you very much, Carol. That's unanimous. Thank you, Kate, for presenting that. We move on now to our next application, where we say goodbye to Councillor Angela. We'll just wait for Councillor Angela to leave the chamber. Okay, great. Our next application is 22/1355/FUL. Full application provision of solar array and all associated works at K Hevron Radar. Taking us through this application is Emma Jones, and I believe this is your first time presenting in the chamber, Emma, so welcome.
It is, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Chair, and good morning, members and members of the public. So this application has come to committee because the applicant is a close relative of one of the county councillors, and it's the provision of a solar array and associated works just outside Radar. So if I go through the presentation, you can see exactly where it is. So this is a slide of the application site indicated by the red arrow and its proximity to Radar. It's just in the open countryside, just south of the town. This is a close-up of the site, showing exactly where the solar array will be, which is just behind the barn as indicated by the arrow. And this is the site area as indicated by the agent. So it shows 2 rows of solar panels just behind the existing building on the site. The 2 rows of panels each measure 24.7 metres in length by 2.3 metres in width, and in total there will be 80 PV panels in the 2 rows. It's a renewable energy development of 30 kilowatts to power the existing building on site. This is a slide showing the frame that the solar panels will be situated upon. It's 0.6 metres above ground at the front end and 1.5 metres at the rear, as you can see by this side view of the site. The next slide shows that the frame will be fixed by ground anchors without the use of concrete, so that the land can easily be returned to its current situation. And this is a plan of the constraints on the site. The yellow area is the mineral safeguarding area alongside the River Wye, and the black lines are public rights of way. There's a bridle path which doubles as the access road, and a footpath going up to the farm just beyond. And then the other rights of way are alongside the River Wye and the other side of the A470. So this slide shows the proximity of the nearest listed buildings. So the one on the left is about 200 metres from the application site, and the one in the north and the right is about 275 metres. From the site, you can't see either of the buildings, and neither can you see the site from the buildings themselves. And also I've looked at the public vantage points nearby from the hills and things, and there's nowhere that I believe you can see both the listed buildings and the application site. This slide is from the A470 facing southwards away from Reda, and it's the only view along the 470 from where you can see the application site, which is located just through the gates there. The agent has confirmed that while the solar panels won't have any specific anti-glare coating to them, they are designed as anti-glare crystals in themselves. So highways, neither Welsh Government nor County Highways has brought that up as an issue, and also given the elevation of the solar array, it shouldn't really have any impact upon road users. And certainly from travelling north into Reda, there's no view of the site at all. So this slide shows the site with the existing barn looking east at the site entrance on the U1535. And the next photograph is in the opposite direction again from the U1535 looking west. The existing building is behind the substantial hedgerow that you can see on the right. It's not visible from this perspective. This is a picture from the site entrance. Again, you can see where the solar panels are going to be erected just behind the barn. So they'll actually be lower than the apex of the barn. And this is a view from the location of the solar panels. This one is facing east. And the next one is facing south towards the A470. This one's facing west, again along the 470 towards Reda. It shows the nearest buildings to the site. And this one is facing north, which shows the slope actually within the site to the boundary. And facing northwest again towards the listed building, which is 275 metres away. And I think that's all I had to say today, Chair.
Thank you very much, Emma. Over to members for discussion. First to indicate they'd like to contribute to this application is Councillor Les George, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Emma, for your presentation. It was very well put over for your first time. Congratulations. I'm very much in favour of these clean energy producing schemes. And I think this has been very well presented. I don't think it's going to be detrimental to anybody else. And I would like to go with the offerer's recommendation and propose we pass the scheme.
Thank you very much, Councillor Les. Any other members? Councillor Elwyn Vaughan, please.
Well, I'll second that recommendation.
Diolch, Councillor Elwyn. I'll bring Colin Edwards, the committee legal advisor, in to have a few words on this application?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, just very briefly, as this is an application closely associated with an elected member, under the protocol, I can confirm that the planning application has been processed normally in accordance with the protocol. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Colin, for that information there. And I believe, Colin, if this wasn't an application related to a councillor, the councillor in question, or a councillor, that it would be decided in the delegated powers.
Yes, unless it was called in by an elected member, or Peter considered it was worthy of consideration by committee.
Good stuff. Okay. Members, as there's no others wishing to contribute to discussion. Oh, Councillor Jonathan Wilkinson, please.
Thank you, Chair. A late entry there. Just wondering, just out of curiosity, really, does this sort of system allow grazing of livestock, particularly sheep, between the solar panels? Emma, could you comment on that, please?
To be honest, I don't know. The site isn't currently doesn't currently have any livestock on it.
I think from my professional side of things, Councillor Jonathan, that it does allow for stock to intermingle between the arrays. Yes, it does.
There is also a pending application for holiday tourism to the rear of the site, so I'm not sure whether they'll continue with the grazing of livestock on that.
Okay, thank you very much. Members, as it's been proposed and duly seconded to go along with officer's recommendation, which is one of conditional consent, I put it to the members to vote if you want to go along with the application. Carol will call out your names momentarily and you'll be able to vote on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So Councillor Carl Lewis.
4.
Councillor Gareth D. Jones.
4.
Councillor Tom Colbert.
4.
Councillor Deb Edwards.
4.
Councillor Les George.
4.
Councillor Hylwyn Hume. 4. Councillor Peter James. 4. Councillor Adrian Jones. 4. Councillor Gareth E. Jones.
4.
Councillor Karina Kenyon Wade. 4. Councillor Ian McIntosh.
4.
Councillor Jeff Morgan.
4.
Councillor Gareth Pugh.
4.
Councillor Gwynfor Thomas.
4.
Councillor Elwyn Vaughan.
4.
Councillor Jonathan Wilkinson.
4.
And Councillor Hugh Williams.
4.
Chair, that's everybody voting for.
That's unanimous. Thank you very much, Carol. We'll invite Councillor Angela back into the chamber now for the next application. And while that's happening, can I ask Councillor Gareth Pugh to leave the meeting at home, please? Oh, sorry, Councillor Gareth, if you just wait a second, Carol will move you.
Yeah, Councillor Gareth, I'll move you into another section of the meeting so that you can hear what is going on, but you won't be able to participate.
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, Chair, I can confirm that Councillor Gareth Pugh is now backstage from the meeting.
Thank you very much, Carol. Welcome back, Councillor Angela. We're moving on now to our third and final planning application on the agenda today, which is application 22/1528/FUL, application relocation of access to a field at Brynderwyn, Abermuir. Taking us through this application is Luke Wisnam, planning officer. Over to you, Luke.
Thank you, Chair. I'll just get up the spreadsheet now on the relevant slide. Right, okay. The application is in front of you today, councillors, just because the applicant is Councillor Gareth Pugh. The application seeks full planning permission for the formation of a new agricultural access. The proposal is to block up the existing field entrance to the west and to relocate the new access away from the bridge to improve visibility. The existing hedgerow is to be removed to accommodate the visibility display, and the proposal includes the erection of a fence. Just to put the site into context, if you're heading between Welshpool towards Newtown and you take the first left for Abermule, you would go over Bryn Derwen Bridge. And this site is directly then on the left. You can see there from the screen where the site is in relation then to Abermule, which is to the south. This is a more zoomed in picture, which shows Bryn Derwen Bridge, which is a listed structure. Also then shows where the existing entrance is and where the proposal is as well. The proposed entrance is directly adjacent to an existing entrance, which goes to 3 or 4 residential properties. This is the site location plan, and it shows the site area in red. It shows, as you can see from the bottom of the screen, really, it shows exactly in red where that hedgerow is. And it shows where the proposed entrance is going to be placed. Also then to the north shows an area of new planting, which is proposed as mitigation for the removal of the hedgerow. It is proposed to plant 6 oak trees. The county ecologist has been consulted and confirms that it is appropriate mitigation for the hedgerow that is lost. This is the proposed fencing. It will measure 1.5 meters in height and stretches for approximately 20 meters in length. This will run adjacent to the highway, below the visibility, behind the visibility. This is a V-mesh estate type fencing, which will be in green. Evidence has been provided to the planning department from the agent, which shows this fencing used at other estates, especially there's one close by, which is Paris Castle. This is the location of the proposed new oak trees, which is further up to the north of the site. This is a photograph of the way into Abermule. This is a picture which shows the existing entrance, which is very poor, well, provides very poor visibility, and that is on the way into Abermule. The next photograph shows the view going back over the bridge towards the trunk road, again showing poor visibility really coming out of that entrance. This is a photograph then further up the road, which shows where the proposal is to be formed. And then looking back. So obviously that hedgerow is to be removed by this proposal. It would have to be removed anyway to form the visibility. So that will be removed entirely and a fence constructed behind. And then that is a photograph then again of the existing entrance, which is just adjacent, which provides access to the residential properties. Policy DM13 and T1 of the Paris Local Development Plan states that proposals should meet all highway access requirements, vehicular parking standards, and demonstrate that the strategic and local highway network can absorb the traffic impacts of the development without adversely affecting the safe and efficient flow of traffic on the network. All the traffic impacts can be managed to acceptable levels to reduce and mitigate any adverse impacts from the development. In principle, the proposal is deemed to meet that policy. The Paris Highways Authority have been consulted. They are happy with the proposed relocation, which is a significant improvement on the existing access, and it would also provide adequate visibility. The Highways Authority requested a number of conditions, 8 in total, which relate to visibility, drainage, gradient, and also for the existing entrance to be blocked up. As discussed previously, the hedgerow is to be removed and also a fence to be erected. Like I said, the Paris ecologist has been consulted and confirms that is okay. The site is close to a triple SI to the west, which is the Montgomery Canal. Given the nature of the proposal, it's not considered the canal would be affected, and there is an intervening river, so it is not considered that site would be affected by the proposal. In terms of the fencing, the design and the scale of it is considered acceptable. The Community Council have objected to this, and we've also had 3 objections from the public. They haven't requested to speak today, but since they have objected, the proposal has been changed and the fencing has been reduced in height. It was previously around 2 meters and now it's gone down to 1.5. We've had no further objections since then. There's also been comments in regards to the need for this, and it has been demonstrated that the need is for better visibility coming out of that entrance and also going in. So that has been dealt with. The site is a scheduled ancient monument. The application was previously applied for early last year, and it was deemed that scheduled ancient monument consent was required. The application was withdrawn and has now subsequently been resubmitted. CADU and CPAT have been consulted and confirmed that they have no objection. Scheduled ancient monument consent has been granted by CADU. As the bridge adjacent, Bryn Derwent Bridge, is listed, the Built Heritage Officer has been consulted, and he has not raised any objections to the nature of the development or the proposed fencing. Councillors, it is recommended to grant conditional consent today. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Luke, I'll bring in Colin Edwards, Principal Solicitor for the committee, please.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. The applicant is an elected member, so I have looked at the processing of the application and confirm that it's been processed. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Colin. Over to members now for discussion, please. Just to indicate they'd like to speak on this is Councillor Les George, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Luke, for a very well presented report on this application. Just one question: how much of the boundary is going to be fenced? How much of the hedge has been taken up? How much fence has been put in?
Thank you, Councillor Les. It's the whole stretch there. So from the existing entrance there all the way up to the proposal.
Right. Okay. So you are correct there, Luke. It certainly improved the visibility for the road. I'm very happy with the presentation. Very happy with the application, and I would like to go with the officer's report and approve consent.
Thank you very much, Councillor Les. Next to speak is Councillor Hywel-Hugh, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'm a little bit perplexed. We very often see in planning applications the reallocation, reciting of a hedgerow, of a natural hedgerow. Why has that not been applied here?
That was questioned with the applicant, and it was just due to the fact that there'd be low upkeep costs to the fence. There'd be no maintenance to the, obviously the hedgerow being cut every year is basically lower costs for the applicant.
Okay, thank you very much, and more than happy to go with the officer recommendation then. Thank you.
Is that seconding that, Councillor Hywel?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you very much. Councillor Angela Davis, please.
Yeah, just seeking some clarity. What does CPAT stand for?
I'll bring Peter in for that.
Clwyd Powys Archaeological Trust. It's one of the archaeological trusts that operates across Wales. I think there's 5 of them from memory, and it's the one that covers Powys. Okay, so they act as an advisor to us on archaeological matters they actually get involved in. We do consult with them. Schedule monument, being a schedule monument, as Luke has just said, we would go to CADU anyway on that. What we mustn't do is sort of duplicate the scheduled monument consent. And just on the point that I'll come back to Harwin, just Councillor Harwin Hugh quickly. We've got to get biodiversity enhancement with every application as well. So your question is right. How have we done that in this instance? Well, they've provided additional planting, which has to be seen as enhancement. It has to go above and beyond really than what's existing. Okay.
Andrew, did you have a
Yeah,
part
so
two
just
to
to clarify on that, because in the report they've said it may directly impact the scheduled monument, and so it needed consent. So just checking, you actually said that CADU had consented and they were happy.
Yeah, so the application was withdrawn last year because CADU confirmed that consent was needed through them. So the application was withdrawn. That has now been granted, and now they've resubmitted with us.
So my only other comment would be about the hedge. I agree, it's disappointing that the whole length of hedge is being removed. I think to move the access looks really sensible from a road safety point of view, but it sort of doesn't really justify removing the hedge. But I accept what you've just said about putting trees instead to mitigate. But I still think it's a shame the hedge is coming.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Angela. Councillor Gareth Jones, Vice Chair, please.
Thank you, Chair. I think everything has been covered by previous speakers. I don't think this would be before us had the applicant not been an elected member. So I'm more than happy to support it and happy that we move to the vote. Diolch.
Diolch, Councillor Gareth. As there are no other members wishing to contribute to this, and it has been proposed and duly seconded to go on with the officer's recommendation, which is one of conditional consent. I'll put it to the vote, and Carol will call the roll call on your names, and you'll be able to vote now momentarily. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Carl Lewis.
4.
Councillor Gareth G. Jones.
4.
Councillor Tom Colbert.
4.
Councillor Angela Davis. Councillor Deb Edwards.
4.
Councillor Les George.
4.
Councillor Harwin Hume. Councillor Peter James.
4.
Councillor Adrian Jones.
4.
Councillor Gareth E. Jones.
4.
Councillor Karina Kenyon Wade. Councillor Ian McIntosh.
4.
Councillor Jeff Morgan.
4.
Councillor Gwynfor Thomas.
4.
Councillor Elwyn Vaughan.
4.
Councillor Jonathan Wilkinson.
4.
Councillor Hugh Williams.
4.
Chair, that's everybody voted for the application.
Thank you very much, Carol. It's unanimous again. Moving on now to, that concludes, oh, sorry, do apologize. Need to bring Councillor Gareth back into the meeting.
Thanks, Chair. I think I'm back in.
Excellent. Okay, that concludes the planning application section of this meeting. We're moving on now to item number 5, which is the delegated list. Is there any observations, or can I have a proposer and a seconder to accept them, please?
I propose we accept them, Chair.
Just hang fire there, Councillor Les. Do have a question from the floor in the chamber. Councillor Angela Davis, please.
I've just got some questions about the terms used. So in some applications, they're approved.
Hang on, could you just pause a second, Councillor Angela? I think we've got a bit of feedback. Okay.
So it's just about the terminology.
Yes.
So sometimes an application is approved and sometimes it has consent.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't work out what the difference was.
Do you want to take that one, Peter?
I'm not sure I do. Well, it obviously been planned for us. Kate, what's the difference?
I think it's just the difference is, it's just the difference between what the officer has put on our computer system.
Just a choice of words.
It's just a choice of words that there is on a computer, there's a drop down menu and there's obviously various options. And yes, there is approve and consent, and I think it's just whatever the
same
officer has
thing.
chosen.
Okay. And the other one is split decision. So if it's an officer decision, how's it split?
Well, with split decision, it's basically if you're saying some aspects of that development is acceptable and then there's other aspects that are not acceptable. So with a split decision, it's normally on maybe like applications such as like discharge of conditions. So you might be able to discharge certain conditions because you've got the information, and then you might not be able to discharge others because you haven't got that information. So,
So it's an
just
application that's got several lines to it.
yeah, and it's just like it's a way of us not having applications sitting around for a long time, so we can just say
That makes total sense. I read it, but basically you couldn't make your mind up.
no.
Okay, lovely, thank you.
Yeah, good points, councillor Angela. Besides from that, could I have a proposer and seconder if there is no other observations for the delegated list, please?
I propose we pass the delegated list, Chair, and I read through the list and I assumed that approved and consent made the same reason, really.
Thank you very much, councillor Les, and I believe that councillor Jonathan wanted to second.
Yes, I'm happy to second that proposal.
Thank you very much. And if there's nothing, we'll take a silence as everyone's happy with that. Thank you very much. Okay. On to item 6 on the agenda, which is delegation of interest on the next section to do with rights of way and the up and coming diversion up here. Are there any members that have an interest in this application? No. Okay. I'll just wait for the officers to come forward. I believe that Claire Lewis is going to take this today. Okay. We'll just wait for everyone to get settled and we'll move on to item number 7. Okay, item number 7 on the agenda today is the Town and Country Planning Act 1990, section 257 for the Pathway Order, to consider a proposal to divert public footpath RB 1387, part RB 1391 and RB 1392, part. Land at Gore Quarry, Walton, Prestine, community of Old Radnor. Taking us through this application is Claire. So over to you, Claire.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is to seek committee approval to make a public path order under the Town and Country Planning Act 1990, section 257. As the Chair has said, to divert part of footpaths RB 1387, RB 1391, and RB 1392. On the 31st of March 2009, an updated schedule of planning conditions was issued under planning application number 2008/1383. That conducted a review of the Gore Quarry development scheme, which was permitted in 1993. On screen shows the red boundary line of the Core Quarry and footpaths RB 1391 and RB 1392 crossing the southern area of the defined site, and they are shown in a green dashed line. The next plan shows the final quarry layout, and which confirms the necessity to divert the footpaths mentioned from their current alignment in order to allow the approved development to be implemented. The proposed rights of way diversion is shown now on screen. The applicant for the proposed diversion is Tarmac Trading Limited. The diversion proposal affects land owned by them and a private landowner who has consented to the proposal. The paths to be created are shown C, D, E, F, G, F, J, I, K, and I to M to L. The proposed alternative route would connect to existing rights of way to provide a circular route around the quarry perimeter, with the benefit of additional links to the public highway, the C1335 at Old Radnor, via points G and K. Under section 257 of the Town and Country Planning Act, a diversion order can be made in respect of a public right of way if it is necessary to do so, in order to enable development to be carried out in accordance with the planning permission that has been granted. If a diversion order is made, opposed, and submitted to PEDU, the inspector could consider wider issues, including the suitability of the proposed new route, in deciding whether the order should be confirmed or not. However, they will not reopen the matter of the planning merits of the development itself. Now I'm going to show you a few photos, and these have been taken over a number of years at different times of the year, but it will give you a flavour of the views available from the proposed route. So this is looking from point D and looking north. View from between points D and E, looking towards Old Radnor. This is the approach to point G, which connects to the highway there. A view from between points I and M. And a photo taken between points M and L. The applicants carried out pre-order consultation, and responses received, including that from the Open Spaces Society, who requested that all public rights of way under the control of the quarry at this site were clear and walkable before responding to the consultation. Old Radnor Community Council made comments on maintenance, path surface, and steepness of the proposed route. These were considered by the applicant, and the route was subsequently revised to move more closely to follow an existing boundary between points G and F. Mr. Newman of the Open Spaces Society was contacted for further comment in October 2001. In his response, he stated that he was unable to accept the extinguishment of part of RB 1387, EFH, which is now labelled ABG on the screen, as the alternative proposed path and onto the A44 involves a steep climb at both ends of the route and walking back on oneself at the eastern end. He therefore requested the retention of the length of RB 1387, which essentially requires a new creation of a link between point B to connect to point G on the public highway at Old Radnor. An additional link XY between the two strands of RB 1387 was also suggested. To help illustrate the links required, Mr. Newman submitted a plan with his response. The two required connections are shown by the pink line on the plan on screen. Without these links, Mr. Newman has indicated that he will object to the legal order. The applicant has formally written to the adjacent landowner to establish whether the provision of a new link between B and G is possible, but this has not been granted, as the landowner feels the current proposal put forward is an improvement to the local footpath network. If we move on to options, it is considered that the legal criteria for making of a diversion order are met. Planning permission has been granted for the development, and that would lie on the footpaths RB 1391 and 1392. The development is not substantially complete. So the committee could decide not to make a diversion order in respect of this application. In that event, the applicant would not be able to implement the development subject of planning permission. Or the committee could approve the making of a diversion order. Given the outstanding objection, there is a significant risk that the order may then be formally opposed. If the order is made and opposed, it could then be formally abandoned, or it could be submitted to PEDU, or what was known as the Planning Inspectorate, for determination. In the event that a diversion order is made, opposed, and submitted to PEDU, the council can decide to support, remain neutral with respect to, or oppose the confirmation of the order. If the council decides to support the order, then it must make a case as to why the order should be confirmed. If the council chooses to remain neutral or oppose the confirmation of the order, that responsibility lies with the applicant. The diversion is considered to be primarily in the interest of the applicant, as the diversion is needed to allow them to implement the planning permission that has been granted. Given this, Chair, I put forward 3 recommendations for approval today. Do you want me to read them?
If you could read them.
Yeah,
please.
certainly.
Thank you.
That an order be made to divert part of public footpaths RB 1387, RB 1391 and RB 1392 on land at Gore Quarry, Walton Prestine, as shown on the plan at Appendix C. Number 2, that if the order is made and opposed, unless significant new information comes to light, it is submitted to PEDU for determination. And 3, that the council takes a neutral stance with respect to confirmation of the order if it is submitted to PEDU for determination. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Over to members for discussion. Is there anything that any information you wish to pull from this? Claire's here to answer you. If not, I'm looking for a proposer and a seconder to go along with the recommendations. Councillor Jonathan Wilkinson, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I've read the detail and thank you very much for the presentation. You made the proposal very clear. It seemed entirely sensible to me and an improvement. And I would be happy to propose that we accept this. I've just got one question really, and that is I see from the information provided that works have been carried out, so I'm assuming that's already been done to prepare the new footpaths. Can you confirm that any additional signage, styles, gates, the cost of those will also be covered by the landowner?
Yes, I can. When it comes to waymarking, it was the responsibility of the council to do that, and we would do that on confirmation of the order. But certainly the gates, and they are in place, and there's a gate at D, kissing gate at D, E, there's another one between E and F, and then there's a field gate at G, and we saw that on the slide. And yes, all cost is covered by the applicant for those.
Okay. Yeah, with that information, I'm happy to propose this application. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Jonathan Wilkinson. Next to speak is Councillor Elwyn Vaughan, please.
Thank you, Chair. Well, as the previous speakers already touched on the matters, I'm likewise content with the proposal and therefore will second the motion.
Diolch yn fawr, Councillor Elwyn. Are there any other members wishing to contribute or have queries on this proposal? No. Okay. It has been proposed and duly seconded to go along with 3 recommendations that have been presented today. Those members wishing to go along with that, please indicate to Carol, who will call your name out momentarily. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Carl Lewis.
4.
Councillor Gareth D. Jones.
4.
Councillor Tom Colbert.
4.
Councillor Angela Davis. Councillor Deb Edwards.
4.
Councillor Les George.
4.
Councillor Harwin Hume. Councillor Peter James. Councillor Adrian Jones. Councillor Gareth E. Jones.
4.
Councillor Karina Kenyon Wade. Councillor Ian McIntosh.
4.
Councillor Jeff Morgan.
4.
Councillor Gareth Pugh.
4.
Councillor Gwynfor Thomas.
Councillor Gwynfor.
4.
Thank you. Councillor Elwyn Vaughan.
4.
Councillor Jonathan Wilkinson. Councillor Hugh Williams.
For.
Thank you, everybody. That's everybody's agreed for that recommendation.
Thank you very much, Carol. That is unanimous. Once again. Thank you very much for presenting that. We move on now to item number 8, the taxi licensing section of this meeting. Declarations of interest. Does anyone have any declarations of interest for the following 3 items on the agenda? Deb Edwards, please.
Yeah, I think I have a prejudicial because I do a little bit of work for somebody that has a private hire license.
Colin Edwards in to speak to you for a second, just to confirm what sort of interest you have.
Yes, I didn't quite catch that. Sorry, could you repeat that, councillor?
Yeah, so sorry. Yeah, I am employed by a company that has a private hire plate license, I think.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably a direct interest, so you should probably step back from consideration.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Carol will move you into the backstage area now, Councillor Deb Edwards. So don't leave the meeting. You'll be able to hear what's transpiring, but you won't be able to vote on anything. So
thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, as there are no other declarations of interest, we'll move on to the item number 9, which is the taxi licensing fees for 2023-2024. We're going to consider the report. Taking us through the report is Sue Jones. Welcome, Sue. On the system.
Got it. Oh, it's come to me. Oh, that's magic. Yeah, hello. Yeah, this report is a familiar one for some members. Some members are new, so you wouldn't have seen this report before. This one I do every year is to consider revised taxi fees for the next financial year. That's from April.
Can we just pause you there, Sue?
Yeah.
Do you have a presentation at all?
No, we don't.
You don't. Okay. So members, if you just refer to your pack, it's item number 9 in your pack with the table of the fees on there. Okay, please continue.
Yeah, I'll read through the report. Yeah. Right. The setting of fees is governed by the legislation for taxi licensing, Local Government Miscellaneous Provisions Act, and it allows for recovery of our costs in connection with administrating, controlling, and supervising the hackney carriage and private hire licensing regimes. Fees are calculated using a established toolkit that was devised by the All Wales Licensing Expert Panel, and our finance team helped me with that too. This is, like I said, this is a committee report that appears annually around this time of year, just in readiness for 3rd of April. So I've gone through the toolkit and done the work, and this is what the fees have come out as. And I've gone back to the last 2 years for you to see as well what was the previous fees. So the proposed fees for vehicles have gone up to 146 this year for April. A 3-year driver license gone up from 248 to 270.50. A 1-year driver license, and to be honest, we don't do many of those. Not many people want a 1-year license unless they know they're going to retire after a year. Has gone up from 140 to 146. And a private hire operator license, which is a 5-year license, has actually come down, and I'll explain that later in the report why that's actually come out less, from 387 to 358. These exclude any DBS costs, and all applications require DBS checks. You will note that the fees from last year went down to the previous year. That was due to officers being involved in the COVID response and enforcement of COVID regulations during 2021 and 21. And in addition to streamlining the processing, fees for 23-24 proposed reflect our business starting to go back to usual, while retaining a lot of the efficiency we gained by shifting to online application submissions. We're still not quite back to the level of compliance checks that we were doing pre-COVID, but I hope to get those back up to speed shortly. as I mentioned, whilst as expected, most fees will have increased due to increase in costs, staffing costs, materials, etc. The operator fees have gone down. The explanation for this is I've refined the data I use in the toolkit so that the general costs associated with administering the taxi regime, previously they were shared equally across the operators, the vehicle and the driver licenses. They now shared pro rata, depending on the number of licenses there are of that type. And there's a lot less operators than there are vehicles and drivers. Hence, it's a much fairer way to do it, to be honest. Less of the other costs are attributed to operators than previously would have been, because that would have disproportionately affected their fees. I hope that makes sense. So as you can see, we got 62 operators. These are the figures from December 2022, just last month. At that time, we had 454 drivers and 390 vehicles. What does that mean in terms of income then? If we were to move with the proposed fees, the additional income for next year would equate to £8,500, which equates to a 10% increase overall. Should members approve the table of fees, then we are required to advertise them in the press for a 28-day consultation. That advert is ready to run next week if we have approval today. Any objections to the proposed fees will need to be considered and reported back to committee and consider any revisions to those if appropriate. No objections are made, then the fees will just come into effect on the 1st of April. So my advice is, as we need to review these periodically to ensure that we're making sure we are achieving cost recovery. As I said, staffing costs, cost of materials have all increased. The fees are not reviewed. We may not achieve full cost recovery. That's the whole purpose of the toolkit, was devised to make sure that we did. We have used that to come up with fees, as I usually do, and in consultation with our finance team. So the recommendation today is that we approve the fees proposed in the table in the report, to go out for consultation in the local press in line with statutory requirements, and if not objected to, they'll be in place for the 1st of April 23. Any objections will come back to this committee for consideration.
Thank you very much, Sue Jones, for taking us through that. First of our councillors wishing to contribute, well, we did have Councillor Hugh Williams.
Yeah, is that me, Chair? Thank you, Sue, for that presentation. Many towns in Powys are on the border. I have to ask you, how do the prices compare with our surrounding authorities, including the English ones, I suppose? And are all the operators based in Powys?
All our operators, we got some around the borders that will have offices in both. Certainly down your neck of the woods, we got companies that have got offices in Pontardawe and in Ystrad, so they have licenses with us, and they would have offices licenses with Neath Talbot as well. So yeah, you do have sometimes where you have operators on the borders with license with both authorities. I haven't done a comparison of fees because it's not really relevant, because we're looking at our cost recovery. They're not outlandishly less or higher or lower than any other authorities, yeah, that's remiss of me. I didn't put it in the report. I know I have done in the past, but yeah, I don't have those to hand.
No, and it's only to, it can be a means of convenience, really. If it's cheaper in Powys, that they would register in Powys. That's the reason I'm asking. And we've had these discussions over the years.
Yes, we have had them before. Yeah, it's called licensing shopping, and it's fairly a national issue. So, and it's not just about costs. It has been about how efficient, how quick, how good a service they get off some authorities compared to others. Some authorities are notoriously very slow at processing applications, and it is known for operators to shop around.
Yeah.
I advocate national fees. That would be the answer to this, really. And we know that the Welsh Government are just about to publish a white paper on new taxi legislation. We had hoped that national fees would be within that, because wouldn't have to do this every year, and we'd all be consistent.
Yeah, through the chair, if I would, there's another reason for it as well, because we sometimes have a different policy of car maintenance or age and such things that does come into it. And I mean, it's an observation or a comment, perhaps.
Yeah, that is what this is what Welsh Government are looking at in their taxi white paper, is consistent standards, because there are whilst we have put in place voluntary standards in terms of drivers and operators already across Wales. Vehicles are really difficult because there's a whole host of different conditions and different authorities on age, emissions, testing, etc. That wasn't easy to achieve via voluntary sort of move. It needs to be done via legislation, and that's the white paper will be seeking to look for consistent standards, because that's long been an issue, the inconsistent standard conditions. But it's not there's no quick fix for it, unfortunately.
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy to support the officer's recommendation if required.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hugh. The system seems to be bouncing people in and out, so I did have Councillor Gareth Jones, Vice Chair, and then I've got Councillor Ian McIntosh and then Councillor Peter James.
Chair, Councillor Hugh asked the question I was going to, so I pulled my hand down.
Okay, thank you very much. And then I've got Councillor Ian McIntosh, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Sue, as well, for the presentation. It's just a small question, really. Obviously, we've got sight of the fees, and they've gone up a little bit. But I just wanted to check on the table that we've got that show these increases on 2.3. It says that the new rates exclude the DBS fee, which is currently £40 and 50p. Did the previous rates include that, or did they exclude it as well?
Always included it, yeah.
They've always included it.
No, they didn't. Sorry. It's a separate fee that's added on after. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's great. So the actual overall increases are just the difference between these figures, then. Yeah, that's okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ian McIntosh. Next is Councillor Peter James, please.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Sue, for your presentation. The actual situation I want to bring up is with fuel costs and the rail strike at the moment. More taxis are going to be needed to be used, and the cost on this is going to be borne by the worker. And I'm just concerned that with the increase of pricing, are we going to cause more issues, especially we don't know how long the strike's going to last, as they're carrying on as of now.
Okay. Do you want to take that, Sue?
Yeah, I mean, we lost a lot of taxi drivers during COVID. They went to do delivery driving, they went to do other things. So slowly starting to recover, but there is a national shortage. You speak to colleagues in school transport and they'll tell you they struggle to get operators as well. But yeah, the figures are slowly starting to recover. Obviously, I'm just conscious that we're recovering our costs in terms of the fees. Otherwise, we'd be subsidising if we were to reduce the fees.
Yes.
Is this the time to actually increase pricing
at
this moment?
We do it it's an annual exercise.
Yeah. School transportation is a bit of a nightmare at the moment, so we won't go there. Councillor Gareth E. Jones, please.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Sue, for the presentation. My questions in terms of Section 4 and Section 5 of the report, which are the resources, information, and legal. Perhaps this is a question of Colin rather than Sue, would it be known, because I assume this is the comments from the service and not from the actual finance and legal department, would it be normal to have comments from section 151 officer and the monitoring officer in respect to this type of report?
Yeah, Jane had seen the report. Yeah, sorry, Jane Thomas has seen the report. Clive Penny's seen the report. Colin's seen the report. And
Yeah, but normally in the reports we would have that
Oh,
formal statement within the
Yeah.
report.
I shared the report with them. They haven't put anything further in there.
Yeah, well, I'm happy with the report, but I just
Yeah.
wanted clarification around it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was shared with them in the usual way in advance for them to put comments in the report.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Tom Colbert, please.
Thank you, Chair. I use taxis a fair bit. I live about 6 miles out of Brecon, and I'm fairly reliant on taxis. The difficulty is actually often getting a taxi, and generally I have to overpay them to even come out here. Otherwise, they won't come out from Brecon. So this is, another unfortunate thing. And then even at some stage, I'd love to get a list of the taxis around Brecon, because it seems like only about 3 or 4 of them actually operate at any one time. So the whole system doesn't seem to work very well at all. I therefore wonder why we would annoy them even more by putting the fees up. I think you said, Sue, that it's going to be like £8,500 we're going to get from this. Is that correct? Yeah. I really don't see it. I don't really see it's worth doing for that, frankly. So I think I would probably be voting against that. And if you can, at some stage, send me a list of taxis, I'd be very pleased to see it.
Yeah, I can do. Obviously, we don't employ taxi drivers, and we regulate and license them, so we can't make them work. Unfortunately, some taxi drivers only want to do school contract work. They're not interested in doing work that doesn't suit them out in their hours late at night or whatever. So yeah, it's always a problem. Yeah, the risk is if we don't increase the fees, then yeah, I'm not achieving cost recovery in my service area. And
well, that's I'm not so concerned about that, I'm afraid.
Well,
I can send you the list of operators in Brecon you would like, though. Yeah,
the council has a duty to wipe its face, so to speak, and that's what we're all here for, and that's part of every single one of our remits, really, to make sure the council is running properly. So the report in front of us today allows Sue's department to continue in what it's doing. So there we go. We all have our own opinions, and that will be borne out in the voting. So just checking now if we have any other contributors. No. Okay, we've got a proposer, but we haven't got a seconder. Councillor Peter James, please.
If this is going public, will the actual taxi drivers have a chance to, if we make the decision now, will they have to appeal?
The notice will go in the Brecon and Radnor and the County Times as statutorily required to go in local press, and they got 28 days to make objections. If they do so, they'll come before this committee. So in the past they have. They didn't last year because they went down, so they didn't expect them to say anything. But yeah, I know that they do look for them, so they'll know.
So they've got an opportunity.
Yeah, they've got 28 days.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Gareth Pugh, please.
Yeah, I think as county councillors, it'd be very irresponsible for us not to support this, as it is only just wiping its face. If we start supporting things that don't wipe their face for reasons that we've heard, where do you stop doing that? So I'll second it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gareth. Did I see Councillor Gareth E. Jones' hand go up?
You did, Chair, but I was only going to second.
Okay.
And Gareth's already done it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, members, it has been proposed and duly seconded to go along with the officer's recommendation, which is the increase in fees for the year 2023-2024 for taxi licenses. Those members wishing to go along with that, please indicate in your when your name is called out momentarily. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Carl Lewis.
4.
Councillor Gareth D. Jones.
4.
Councillor Tom Colbert.
I'm going to abstain.
Thank you. Councillor Angela Davis. Councillor Les George.
4.
Councillor Harwin Hume. Councillor Peter James. Councillor Adrian Jones. Councillor Gareth E. Jones.
4.
Councillor Karina Kenyon Wade. Councillor Ian McIntosh.
4.
Councillor Jeff Morgan.
4.
Councillor Gareth Pugh.
4.
Councillor Gwynfor Thomas.
4.
Councillor Elwyn Vaughan.
Councillor Elwyn Vaughan. Has Councillor Elwyn Vaughan dropped out?
Yeah, he's not
He's not showing in
online.
the meeting. Okay.
Councillor Jonathan Wilkinson.
4.
Councillor Hugh Williams.
4.
Thank you. So that's 1 abstention and all others 4, Chair.
Okay, that meets with the officer's recommendation, which is one of increasing the fees for the year described. Thank you very much, Sue, for that report. We'll move on now to item number 11, and I believe Mr. Gavin Jones, Senior Enforcement Officer, Animal Enforcement Officer, has something to request from the committee. So I'll bring in Gavin Jones, please.
Good morning, members and members of the public. My apologies. I had hoped today to present a report to the committee with regards to the proposed increased license fees for animal licensing. However, as I hadn't received the comments back from the finance department in time, I respectfully ask that the matter be deferred until the 2nd of February. Chair.
Do members have an objection to that at all?
No.
No objection, Chair.
Pardon?
No objection.
I'll take the silence as we're happy to move that on to February. Great. Okay. Thank you very much, Gavin, for that.
Thank you, Chair.
I'll move back now to item number 10, which was the minutes from the taxi licensing subcommittee, which are on page 141 and 142. Councillor Harwin Hume chaired the meeting, and Councillors Deb Edwards and Adrian Jones were in attendance. Do you three see that those minutes are accurate and of what transpired that day? And if you do, could I have a proposal and seconder for those, please?
Yes, Chair, they are a true reflection of the meeting and I propose that they are accepted.
Yes, Chair, I'll second that. Thank you.
Those indeed are accepted because there was only 3 in the meeting and 2 have already indicated. I believe Councillor Deb had her hand up as well. So those have been accepted. Could members stay on to the end? We're going to end the live meeting now. So all it leaves me to do is to thank officers who presented today and contributed to discussion. And also to thank members of the public at home. We do apologise that we had a late start today, but we had technical difficulties, and to thank the press as well. Before we do, Carol, do you have a date for the next meeting, please? If you
Yes.
don't,
Yes, Chair, the next meeting is the 2nd of February.
2nd of February, there we go. Great. I therefore formally end this meeting. Thank you.